Here is just a moment in your appearance with us in 1984 in Chicago. And
Is this going to be embarrassing?
It won't be embarrassing, I don't think. Remember, this is 1984. Let's look in.
What type of advice would you like to offer the young American teenagers concerning sex and drugs?
Well, one thing that we don't do is take drugs, okay? And Reverend Falwell came out against us at most of their concerts in this part of the country with people saying that Boy George is evil. Basically, we preach love. If you listen to our songs, we sing about love. We don't have sexism in our videos. We don't have violence. In fact, I think our videos are one of the very few that don't have girls in bikinis and sex. We have a different kind of message. And I think that the message is quite relevant. I think that we do tell people to sort of be considerate. I mean, we're a very sensitive band. I think that we make our message quite clear.
What do you understand Reverend Falwell's misgiving to be?
Well, Reverend Falwell says that, you know, you can make kids homosexual by playing pop records, which is rubbish. And I say to Reverend Falwell, you have a low opinion of American parents if you think that I can indoctrinate their children. We are like entertainers. We come here to entertain. We bring happiness. You know, people enjoy the concerts. And there's nothing immoral about it at all, you know. There's nothing immoral about enjoying yourself. Let's get one thing straight right now.
You understand, we believe you when you say that, and you are drug-free. There's no indication that you're not. So that in that, we should all of us worried about children should be grateful that you are
I am now, anyway.
Held in as high esteem as you are. You are a person who does not use controlled substances. What I think concerns Reverend Falwell and others is a trend toward what they perceive to be androgyny or
What about Halloween? What about Halloween? People dress up on Halloween. Is that androgynous? You know, what do people do on Halloween? Do they become transvestites? Yeah, let's, you know...
That was 1984, and you're prepared to confirm that when you talked about being drug-free, you were telling the truth.
Yeah. A lot of things have changed for me and Jerry Falwell, huh?
Reviewing the interviews that you've consented to regarding this very painful issue, let me just briefly tell you what I know, and it won't take very long. What I know is that you became addicted to heroin, and that the experience was an agony beyond description. You would bang your head against the wall, you wept uncontrollably, your body ached, you sometimes blacked out, you woke up in the morning in total misery, and yet you continued to, as we know addicts do, take this substance into your system. What, would you kindly review for us, am I close to describing the experience?
Well, I think that, I mean, there was a lot of press in England about what I went through, but I don't think it's possible to explain it in a newspaper. And it's very difficult for me to explain it now because it's a year and a half ago now since I stopped taking heroin, and, you know, it's very difficult to explain what the process is of coming off. And it's also very difficult to explain the psychological pain of being a heroin addict as well. People don't know about that.
Now, how could a smart guy like you get hooked? How do you explain that?
You know, it's a difficult question to answer, really. And I've been asked it for years, for the last 2 years. It happens.
Yes.
That's all I can say. You know, I don't want to be any more profound than that. I don't want to sit here and make excuses for what I did. And what people do forget is that my tragedy was a personal tragedy, not just a public tragedy. And people forget that, you know, because it was in the newspapers and because they read about it,
right,
they forget what I went through. I mean, I know a lot of other people went through it as well, right, but I went through it personally. And I think it'd be nice if people didn't forget that, because they have in the past.
Right. You will understand my interest in your commentary, because we, all of us, as parents, do not want this dragon to strike our household. And so this is not voyeurism as much as it is going to an eyewitness, a personal witness, who appears to have come up from the ashes. Your mother was considerably influential in your recovery, was she not?
Well, I think any mother, regardless of who their son is, would be supportive. It's very difficult for him, you know. One thing is I want to say is that I'm trying really hard to forget about it. But I think the one thing I would say to anybody is that life is difficult enough as it is without making it more complicated. And that's really the only thing I can say. And I wouldn't wish what I went through on anybody else.
Do you like yourself now?
Pardon?
Do you like yourself now?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, the thing is that, my life has changed so much in the last 2 years. I mean, and me as a person, I mean, and it sounds very corny, but, you just become humbled by your experiences. You have to. You grow up very quickly. You cannot. You don't have a choice.
Right. For the record, and thank you for bearing up, you lost a close friend to drugs.
I lost more than one.
I'm speaking of the chap who died in your house. His parents later sued you.
Well, they tried to sue me. They didn't succeed.
It was not successful.
No.
And the charges, whatever they may have been, are now passed and you're cleared and you're free.
Well, I'm not free of the sadness, and, just because it's been thrown out of court, it's not out of my head, and I'm sure it won't be out of my head for a long time to come.
Right. As a very hot, popular star, I can only speculate on how you feel about Fleet Street. But please let me ask you that Fleet Street reported that in January of this year you had checked back into a hospital. Is that true? And everybody's, as you know, not everybody, but there are not a few folks out there waiting for good old George to fall off the wagon.
I booked into a health farm. Well, they call them fat farms here.
So you were not abusing the substance?
No.
And was methadone one of your treatments?
No, I never took it.
Never?
No.
You didn't?
Let me just tell you, right, when I came off heroin, basically, I just came off. I had all my medication taken away from me. I had a nurse 24 hours a day, and basically my mum and dad stayed with me, and they just stopped me from leaving the house. And, the way I did it was very difficult, because there are other ways of doing it that are very easy. But I did it that way because I wanted to stop taking any form of medication, because, there's no point coming off heroin, because what doctors do is they give you substitutes which are just as bad. And I wanted to stop, and I really wanted to live above anything else.
Do you ever at any moment now, at any time during any day, feel the stirring?
Feel what?
The stirring. I want it.
Oh, no. At all, no. Well,
she doesn't
you're entitled to your opinion.
You don't believe him?
You don't believe me? Pardon?
Well, hang on.
Well, hold on. Listen, hold on a second. Let me just answer that question, okay? I would never take it again, right? Ever. I would never take it again because I am terrified that if I took it again, I would drop dead immediately. And that is why I have no inclination of taking it. And if you want to call me a liar, you're entitled to do so. But I know that I'm telling the truth.
Why would it be so important to you to disagree with him?
Well, what you feel is not what I feel.
Would you kindly take this microphone, please? And you'll be brief, all right? Would you kindly stand, please?
Christina, unfortunately I've been through the same experience as you, and it must have been a lot tougher for you with the press, etc. But you must still have that urge now and again at a party or anywhere. I mean, I can be doing the washing up and all of a sudden it'll hit me.
I don't, and I'm not saying this for PR. I don't care what other people think. I know what I've been through. I don't have to, be judged by anybody anymore. I know what I feel. I would never take it again.
What advice would you give to drug addicts to come off of heroin?
Well, the hardest thing is coming off. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Staying off is so difficult. I mean, it's so hard to stay off. Especially, when there are a lot of people around that are still taking drugs, and you can't avoid them. I mean, it is, I would be lying to say that I don't ever see people taking drugs. People smoke dope in front of me, and it's really difficult, but you have to make a decision. You have to decide whether you want that in your life or not. And when you take drugs, when you become a drug addict, it becomes your career. I did nothing creative while I took heroin at all. I couldn't sing, I didn't write any songs, I didn't record anything, I did nothing. So when you become a heroin addict, you make that your career, and, I don't want that to be my career.
Yes.
As a nurse, I've seen what drugs can do to people, and I think you deserve nothing but congratulations.